Okay. So if you're anything like me, I'm recording this. It's towards the end of October. We're headed into November. We have 2 months left of 2023. And I'm the type of person that loves to challenge myself. Um, I love to go after what I want. I get incredibly frustrated and annoyed with challenge. I get a lot of questions from people asking, like, talk more about the messy middle. And so I'm going to talk about that today. But the reason why I'm having this conversation is because I just want you to know that I'm human and I experience the same thing. So when you are the type of person that loves thinking outside of the box, parenting outside of the box, working outside of the box, playing outside of the box, and you have this part of you that is like, there has to be more. If you are that person, you are my person. Um, I work with and attract a lot of people who identify as the strong woman. She's responsible for a lot, whether it's at home or in her career. But she also desires freedom in some capacity. And ironically, freedom comes with discipline and structure and consistency. And I would say I'm a very creative person in the sense that if I get too structured or too disciplined, I then feel restrictive and like the freedom is being taken away. So, just like any other human experience, it's fluid. And when you are actively leaning into your challenges, leaning into what you want, that's what I call the messy middle because it feels so messy, right? You're trying to control things and you're like, oh my gosh, you get sick, the kids get sick, life happens to you. So we have about 2-ish months left of 2023. And this is about the time when people want to give up. This is about the time when they start, leaning back, taking the foot off the gas. The holidays are coming. And this is not a time where I'm going to lean in and hustle. I do not agree with hustle culture. It's not aligned with how I want to feel. But it is also not a time to stop doing what you want and then just wait until January, because that's not going to get you where you are either. It's like, being quote unquote good or having a routine Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday, you're just off the rails. You're eating whatever you want. You're just all your habits go out the window. And then you wonder why you feel like shit on Monday and it takes you half the week to get back on track. So I'm all about doing less better. I'm also about sustainability. And so I am going to finish the year aligned. And I'm going to tell you what exactly I'm going to be doing to do that, and how, the version of me today doing this is definitely a different version of me doing this last year at this time. So if you want to join me in being consistently inconsistent and finishing the year aligned, then I encourage you to head on over to Instagram and follow me there, because I'm going to be sharing more in my stories. And the whole point of this is me just role modeling and being the type of woman and parent and business owner and human being on this planet that I most desire other people to be, especially during a time, not only with the holidays coming, but a lot of controversy, war, big, deep, heavy heart stuff. I am very sensitive, intuitive, and when the energies are off externally, I can definitely feel it internally. So that is the time when I double down on how do I want to feel and reverse engineering that. So I will be sharing more of that on Instagram. I personally feel like this is the way that I am mapped. This is the way I'm personally designed. I'm very impact and purpose driven. And through my life experience, through all the work I've been doing in the last 10, 15, almost 20 years, I used to want to scream from the rooftops and make sure that I was heard and seen and understood, to convince people to change their beliefs and their identity and who they are. And then I realized That's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to become the person that I desire other to be, which to me equals love and kindness, which allows me to speak softer and kinder to my children, to really see and understand and actively listen and see what's going on with them, to be more present, more fulfilled, so that I can give back. And I can give back through my skills. I can give back through donation. I can give back through just having a genuinely loving conversation, or maybe not lovingly, but I can sit in the discomfort of other people's feelings. So this is my bigger why for wanting to commit to finishing the year aligned. It really doesn't have anything to do with me. I just want to feel better so I can give more. And I think now more than ever, the world needs that. So let's dive in. Okay. So there's a quote. If you are not familiar with James Clear, by now you may be. He's the author of Atomic Habits. And I'm going to tell you why I love James Clear. But one of the quotes that I really love, and there's many, many quotes, tiny changes can lead to remarkable results when they become habits. And he talks a lot about identity, habits. You don't have to be someone else, just focus on being you. And then he talks about like voting, through your actions for the type of person you want to become. Every action you take towards the person you want to become is a vote, blah, blah, blah. Paraphrasing, not making sense, but you get the vibe. And the book Atomic Habits is very scientific. And for whatever reason, it's a book that sat with me. And I think it's because it's not a raw personal development book. It is not about all or nothing. It's about these tiny, 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 tiny micro actions that you take towards becoming the type of person you want to be. And inside Mastery and Mastery Business, we talk a lot about fear. We talk a lot about resistance. And I think the most emotionally uncomfortable thing for people to realize is we don't take action due to fear. Now, sometimes that's hard to understand because you're like, well, no, Heather, I don't take action because I don't have time. But why don't you have time? Right? You don't have time because there's a story that you're telling yourself as to why you don't have time. And you actually may believe you don't have time. Like you might actually be sitting here listening to me going, wow, this woman has no idea what my life is like. And I just don't have time. But I'm sure you could find 10 minutes in your day to do something tiny towards the person you want to become. You probably could. But you won't, because then you're going to tell yourself, well, it's only 10 minutes. It's not going to make that big of a deal. The people who I see in my world see the best and biggest results are the people who don't yet believe that change is possible, but they're so done with their own bullshit and they're willing to take action. So finishing the year aligned for me, and I'm going to tell you in a minute what I'm doing. Finishing the year aligned for me is more about not stopping what I'm doing, taking inventory of my habits and realigning. That's all it is. I was reflecting on the year and what January looked like, and I think we were in Mexico, or February, we were in Mexico. So the beginning of the year. And I remember, being in Mexico, we were there for a month with the kids. We were homeschooling. I was running a retreat and I was working at the same time. And it was fun. We had a lot of fun. But just the emotional roller coaster of like the whole year. And then I would look at, February, March, April, May, and I was like, holy shit, right? Like, it's like you're running a marathon. And I'm like, just stop and realign. So how do you want to feel when the holidays come around? How do you want to feel when the end of the year comes around? What do you want to be really proud of in 2023? Because 8 weeks-ish, that's actually a lot of time to see results if you're willing to take tiny action on a daily basis imperfectly. Meaning, if you don't do it one day, you didn't fail. If you don't do it 2 days, you didn't fail. But make sure there's like a 2-day rule that if your brain got the best of you for 2 days in a row, don't make the same mistake on the third day. So here's what I'm doing to finish the year aligned. And some of you may have thoughts around this. So, and I'm actually nervous to tell you what I'm doing. If you have ever accomplished, 75 hard. 75 hard, you can Google it. There's also an app. It is, and I've done it before. I think I got to I've never finished one, but I got to day 40 something. So 75 hard is 2 45-minute workouts. One of them has to be outside. You follow some type of eating plan. So whatever you choose, you're like, I can eat everything except whatever. You choose your food rule and you have to stick to it. You have to drink a gallon of water a day. You have to read 10 pages. You take a quick picture of yourself and no alcohol or cheat meals. Now, everyone is going to have their own beliefs about these rules. The first time I did 75 hard, I also want to add that if you don't follow any of those rules, let's say I'm on day 5, I did them all. I'm on day 5, but I forgot to take the progress picture, then I have to go back to day 1. And the whole point is you do 75 hard and then there's a phase 2, blah, blah, blah. There's an app. I think you have to pay for the app. I have it. It's on my phone. And it's funny because I'm watching myself. So 75 hard was developed by Andy Frisella. When you observe the energy around 75 hard, it is very hustle, masculine focus. Now, every single time I go to do 75 hard, I am a different version of myself. And I will tell you, the first time I did 75 hard, I followed the rules. And there was a lot of shame and self-criticism that if I failed, it was deep, 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 deep feelings, deep feelings. My whole body was, I was in a state of I was in a shame spiral of I failed, knowing that not very many people actually do 75 hard and very few of those people complete a 75 hard. Anyways, let me take a sip. The version of I am today going into a 75 hard is I care, but I don't care. I know that the fact that I'm just committing to be a better version of myself every single day is enough. There's definitely going to be inner critic. There's definitely going to be some compassion, self-compassion needed. There's going to be a lot of resistance, meaning I can put those 2 45-minute workouts in my calendar. I can fill my water. I would say actually my water intake is part of my daily routine now. And I feel good on a gallon of water. Not everybody does. But I feel really, really good on a gallon of water. And I know a lot of people, that's really hard for them. And that's okay. I think you have to work up to it as well. But sometimes it's actually not healthy for you. But I feel really good on it. So if I didn't feel good on a gallon of water, I'd cut the water in half and I'd still do it. So you have to align it for you. Reading is interesting for me. I used to love reading more. I also think I'm probably going through a little bit of perimenopause and some other stuff. So my brain is changing. And I'm observing it and watching it. And I don't have the attention span or desire to read. And even when I am reading, I'm not like getting into the pages. So I'm just observing that and I'm kind of just doing the work and checking the box there. I would say in this last year, my body has really changed, whether it's hormonal, the life season I'm in, parenting teenagers. It's a wild ride, that's for sure. And so my relationship with reading has definitely changed. And I know you can't do audiobook on 75 Hard, but I know, I know you can read audiobooks or listen to them, which is totally fine. But I don't want to. I'd rather read the actual page, disconnect from my phone, and yeah. So, anyways, I'm just letting you know the honest truth of where my brain is at. Progress picture does not bother me. I can take a progress picture every morning, just in the mirror, doesn't matter. And I don't really drink, so no alcohol is a non-issue for me. The food stuff, I've been counting macros for a while, but sticking to them and tracking them is a challenge for me. That has been a challenge in this season of my life. Not this season, but I would say the last few months. So, which can also can be connected to brain change if I am going through perimenopause. All of this to say, also the 45-minute workouts, one must be outdoors. I'm not trying to be a hero here. So unless I'm already going to the gym, I would be going to the gym, doing a workout. My second workout would be a walk outside, and most likely after dinner. And I would sometimes I bring the kids along, leave my phone at home. If I'm not going to the gym that day, it can be a Peloton ride, like a ride inside the house. But sometimes it's 2 walks a day. And they have to be 45 minutes each. What I find difficult about the 45-minute walks is, I can be on my phone at that point, but around 30 minutes, I want to give up. Like, I'm like, okay, let's go back in. I only have, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, a quick little brain break. I think the challenge is actually hanging out there long enough for 45 minutes to feel your feelings, to feel the resistance. Why am I telling you all this? It's October. It's November. Whenever you're listening to this, you might even be listening to this a different year. Who fucking knows? You had intentions of, actually, let me go back to this. Every year I get my new planner, and in the back of the planner, I write out all the things I want to accomplish. Some of them I accomplish, some of them I don't. And recently I was looking at my planner and I started checking things off, like literally crossing them off my list of things that I've accomplished. And I know this because I practice it or I preach it, but it's not the things you're after, it's the feelings. And I'm checking these things off the list and I'm like, okay, we've done this, we've accomplished this. Okay, yep, this is happening, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, why am I not feeling the way I want to feel? I'm not feeling the way I want to feel because the feelings that you're actually after you've accomplished so much in your life, is in your daily habits. And the daily habits have so much mental resistance around them. And I think there's a difference between the type of person who is a doer versus the type of person who is a beer. So let me give you an example. I have both types of women that come to me, but I will have the type of person that will say, Heather, I eat well. I have my habits under control. Habits are not my issue. I've actually heard this a lot in the last few months. Habits are not my issue. I do the thing. I check it off. I do my workouts. I have my food. I'm going for my walks, blah, blah, blah. I said, great. Good thing I'm not a fitness coach or a nutrition coach, because that's not why you're here. You're here to feel. You want to feel joy. You want to feel fulfillment. You want to feel connected in your soul. Habits are not your issue, but it's good that you can follow through with habits. The challenge is learning to feel aligned with how you want to feel. So the beer is the type of person that is saying, okay, I'm about to take this action. And here's the resistance. So instead of just hustling through and plowing through this movement, or hustling through and plowing through this conversation I need to have with my kid, or yelling, or doing whatever, or this email I need to send for work, I'm going to sit and I'm going to ask myself, how do I want this email to land with other people? I want it to feel connected. So I'm going to ask myself, what types of words, what's the language, what's the communication I need to convey that allows the person receiving it to feel connection, to understand me? It's a different concept. But instead of using your brain, you're using your heart. So when I'm going through the 75 hard challenge, which I could call it 75 emotionally uncomfortable, 75 soft, 75 whatever, 75 days of intentional, focused energy and effort, I don't know what's going to happen. My hope is that I can finish the year feeling more aligned, meaning, we're running this race all year, right? We're headed into the 11th month. I guarantee you might be a little fatigued. I guarantee you may need to get aligned, because I'm constantly, almost every 30 days, I'm like, okay, realign, realign, realign. And if you're anything like me and you have a lot of responsibility and your kids have big shit going on, they have activities, they have school, they have whatever, we're carrying a lot. I mean, I need to realign every single day. So that's what I'm doing. I'm going to do the 75 hard. And in my brain, I'm calling it 75 emotionally uncomfortable. And the type of energy that I am bringing to this is, it's not all or nothing. It's more of just a quick realignment. Like I'm picking up the dirty clothes off the floor in my room. Just a quick tidy up. I'm not blowing up my life. I'm not changing a lot of things. I'm just course correcting slightly. And I'm a different version of me today than I am previously. I also know that I'm not going to really beat myself up over an app and some rules that some masculine man made. And I'm grateful that he created this challenge, but I get to do it on my own damn terms. So what does that mean for me? My dog is whining. What does that mean for me? It means if it's 2 walks a day, it's 2 walks a day. If drinking a gallon of water doesn't feel good for me, then I'm not drinking a gallon of water. If tracking my macros is stressing me the fuck out, then I'm not doing that. But I'm going to be intentional with my rules, quote unquote rules, and I'm not going to sacrifice them because I was tired. So if you set yourself up for failure, you will fail. If you set yourself up for success in alignment with how you want to feel, you will feel successful. If you put everything on your calendar from sunrise to sunset, back to back to back to back to back, and you give yourself no time to breathe, you will feel burnt out. And if you truly align how you want to feel with the person you desire to become, the parent you desire to be, the work you desire to do in the world, the relationships you desire to have, and then you say to yourself, how can I do less better? How can I take more off my plate Why am I doing all this shit? Is it just busy work? Can I just cross it off my list? Why do I put this pressure on myself? Why did I abandon myself when I put that on the calendar and then someone needed me and I just completely let it go? Why is my brain so stressed out? What is it that I've been avoiding? Where am I spending all or most of my time and energy? When we can start to do inquiry, self inquiry, I believe this is where the magic happens because you begin to co create your life with how you want to feel. And never once would I say, I'm perfect and I have it all figured out, but I'm always willing, like how I want to feel is my guiding light. It's my North Star. It's my GPS. It's my end game. And I'm always focused on how I want to feel and how can I get there rather than life is happening, shit has hit the fan, the holidays are coming, and therefore I'm giving up. If I am so out of alignment and I'm not even willing to try 10 minutes a day to get back in alignment, universal energies will take over. And I've given my power away to everything outside of me to control how I want to feel. So I'm always up for a good challenge. And if you are too, feel free to join me for 75 Hard. Make it your own. Watch some YouTube videos on it. Listen to some podcasts. You can just Google 75 Hard. Check out the app and follow along. And I'll be talking about it here and there in my stories, making my own journey. And that's it. That is me finishing the year aligned, taking ownership for how I want to feel. Remember, tiny, tiny changes can lead to remarkable results when they become habits. James Clear.